And joining us to talk about all of it is psychotherapist Robi Ludwig. Great to see you.
Great to be here.
Okay, maybe it's because I'm an older generation, but like, when somebody first said they're using apps for friends, I was like, really? I thought that was just for dating. So what do you say to people who think, well, that can't be used for platonic connection?
I love the idea because I think dating apps are a little bit tough. You try to go on a date and it can feel very rejecting, but the idea of meeting other friends, very often when you're older, it's hard to meet friends in adulthood. People are so busy, they may not be in a community that's necessarily welcoming or looking for friends. And given the loneliness that has been going on and the epidemic of loneliness, I think this is a perfect solution.
So what's your advice for building genuine relationships offline? Because that's ultimately the goal of a lot of these apps, right?
Yes.
To connect you with new people, but then to form real-life friendships.
I always recommend to my patients, find something that you really love, that you're passionate about, and be a part of a community where you can meet like-minded people and where you can meet them regularly. Maybe it's even joining a class that's regular. I have a friend who joined a baking class to just open up and restart her life. And once you meet like-minded people, one thing leads to another. But you still need to show up and invest in people. But it's a wonderful way to meet new people you might not otherwise meet.
Anything you want to be mindful of if you're on an app and looking for friendship?
Well, the difference between online versus offline is you don't necessarily know who you're meeting. You don't know their background. You don't know their connections. So I would just say beware. You know, you want to have eyes wide open and tread slowly. You want to get a sense of who that person really is.
And I know a lot of these apps now even have in-person activations. I did one the other day. You saw that dinner party too.
Yeah.
Any tips for that first moment of meeting? I think a lot of people might feel shy or like, how do I even go about saying, will you be my friend?
It's important for people to give themselves grace and credit for putting themselves in a new situation. And if one person is feeling anxious, probably a lot of people are feeling anxious. It's uncomfortable. Anything new is uncomfortable and takes time. So give yourself credit for showing up, get to meet people, and just enjoy the moment and don't put too much pressure on oneself.
What if you don't want to try an app? You wanted to go old school. What's your best advice, you know, in person?
Yeah. Well, I would call up people that you miss. Sometimes we want to reactivate older friendships that we miss. And that's always a good way to reconnect with somebody who knew us back when.
Yeah, you might actually have friends. They're just inactive. Yeah.
Sometimes attending a new class or even going to a house of worship can be a way to meet people who are on the same level as you. And also, you know, say, I'm looking for new friends. There's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of adults feel that way because we don't necessarily have school or parenthood necessarily bringing us all together.
And that feels like a key takeaway, that it's a universal feeling. You're not necessarily alone in it if you're looking for friends. So thank you for being a friend of the show.
We long for that. You know, it helps us with mental well-being, and it's a special kind of connection that friendship offers us.
I will say, even as an empty nester now, it's gotten harder, right? Because we don't have that automatic other parents thing.
Right,
So.
the play date thing.
Right. Robi Ludwig, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We got a lot more news ahead.
You're watching NBC News Daily.